Hello everyone. In last video, I discussed about monohybrid cross of the Gregor Johann Mendel, which he performed on garden pea plant. In his cross, Mendel first select pure tall plant as a female parent and a dwarf plant as a male parent. Okay, the pure tall plant have genotype capital T, while the dwarf plant have genotype small t. In first step of the experiment, after selecting the parent, Mendel confirmed that they are pure parents by selfing them or by breeding them for 3 generations. And after selection of the parent, Mendel emasculate the female flower and transfer pollen grain from male plant to the female flower. That is, he performed artificial crossing. And after artificial crossing in between tall and dwarf, we know that tall plant produce single type of a gamete, that is capital T, and dwarf plant produce small t type of gamete. And in cross, both these gamete mixed in F1 generation, that is first generation, the genotype become capital T small t. That means all offspring of F1 generation are tall. And then Mendel again self the offspring of F1 generation. Now this capital T small t gametes segregate or separate from one another. Okay, and when we draw Punnett square, we can easily determine phenotypic and genotypic ratio of F2 generation. In F2 generation, Mendel got 3 tall plant and 1 dwarf plant. So phenotypic ratio become 3:1. While in the same generation, if we consider genotypic ratio, it become 1:2:1, because out of these 3 tall, 1 is pure tall, then 2 hybrid tall, while 1 plant is pure dwarf plant. Okay, so this is the monohybrid cross of the Mendel. Mendel performed similar crosses on all 7 characters of Pisum sativum, and he got uniform ratios of phenotypic and genotypic crosses. Now, on the basis of monohybrid cross findings, Mendel proposed 2 different types of laws, which is known as first law of inheritance and second law of inheritance. Now, in this video, I am going to talk about first law of inheritance. So, first law of inheritance is also called as law of dominance. And this law states that in a cross between 2 pure parent, in F1 generation, the character which appear is dominant trait, while the character which do not appear in F1 generation is recessive trait. Okay, so according to law of dominance, if we cross 2 pure parents like tall and dwarf, then in F1 generation, the character which appear is nothing but the dominant trait. So here we got all tall plant in F1 generation. So tall is the dominant trait, while the dwarfness is suppressed in F1 generation. So we can call dwarf as a recessive trait. So this is the basis of law of dominance. And according to this law, each character is controlled by 2 factors, which we now called as alleles. Alleles are nothing but the alternating forms of genes, and in each pair of allele, one is dominant factor, while other is recessive. That means if we consider this capital T small t type of F1 generation, in this case capital T is the dominant allele while the small t is a recessive allele. Okay, so this is the another conclusion of law of dominance. There are various examples of the law of dominance, like in human, when we consider curly hairs and straight hairs, curly hair trait is dominant over straight hairs. Okay, so first example is curly hairs versus straight hair. If one of the parent have curly hair in human and another parent have straight hair, in that case the all offspring of F1 generation will going to show curly hairs, because curliness of the hair is a dominant trait and straight hairs is a recessive trait. Similarly, eye color is another character in the human which show dominance. Brown eye color is dominant over blue eye color. That means out of two parents, if one have brown eye and another have blue eyes, now F1 generation will going to show only brown eyes, because brown eye color is a dominant trait and blue eye is a recessive trait. And we know that according to this law, only dominant character expressed in F1 generation, because these dominant characters like brown eyes, curly hairs or tallness will going to suppress the expression of recessive trait or recessive character. This law of dominance is very significant, because in many disease cases the expression of harmful defective allele are suppressed by normal dominant allele. Okay, well-known example of this is sickle cell anemia. It is the life-threatening disease, and the disease is caused by mutant harmful recessive gene which is HBS. Okay, so this is the defective gene which is present in the humans, and this gene is responsible for sickle cell anemia, the condition in which the RBCs of the human become half moon shape. Okay, so that they do not perform normal functions of gaseous transfer or oxygen transfer. So we call this disease as sickle cell anemia, and it is occurred by the HBS defective genes. Now this HBS is recessive trait and its normal partner is HBA. So this is the normal gene or normal partner of HBS gene. This HBA is a dominant trait or dominant allele, similar to capital T in this cross. Okay, so capital T is a dominant, similarly HBA is dominant, and small t is a recessive in Mendel's P experiment. In this case HBS is a recessive. Okay, so if the person receive HBA gene from one parent and HBS from another parent, in that case the person become heterozygous. It has two different type of allele of the same gene, and now this dominant normal HBA gene will going to suppress the effect of harmful HBS type of a gene, and due to which the person can survive. The disease do not become lethal. The person only function as a carrier. Okay, the person can transfer this harmful gene from one generation to the next generation, but the disease progress is inhibited in this person because of the presence of this normal dominant gene. Okay, so this is the significance of this law. Okay, that is, due to the presence of normal dominant gene, the expression of harmful defective recessive gene can be controlled. Okay, the last point that we have to discuss is that there are some organisms or exceptions which is present in the organism. The organisms show incomplete dominance or absence of dominance, and well-known example is 4 o'clock plant. We can also call this plant as Mirabilis jalapa. This plant do not show complete dominance or they show incomplete dominance. And due to this type of example, we can conclude that law of dominance is true and significant, but it is not universally applicable. So this is a very important thing about the first law of inheritance, that it is true and significant, but it is not universally applicable. In nature, we can find number of examples, number of organisms in which there are many characters are present which do not show dominance and recessive type of inheritance. They either show incomplete dominance or they show absence of dominance. Okay, so this is all about the first law of inheritance, which is nothing but the law of dominance. This law Mendel proposed on the basis of his findings of monohybrid cross. Okay, on the basis of this monohybrid cross, Mendel also proposed his next law, which is second law of inheritance. In my next video, I am going to talk about this law. Thank you.